There's an expression that I've always used and sort of thought I made up a few years back, but sort of Putin's got a great poker face, but his chess game is shit. And I think that the war has only illustrated that very clearly. But we talk about his vulnerabilities, yet nothing seems to happen, right? I'm going to be devil's advocate, I think, because it's good for balance in that regard. And, I think the extremities or over zealous sort of predictions by some is applicable to both sides, right? Every country has relative challenges. I certainly think Russia's are worse than the pro-Kremlinites like to make out. But equally, is Putin so at the precipice of being sort of, removed or replaced, or he's at really, because this is why he's so successful, because he's managed to purge and completely control the entire Russian system, right? This propaganda machine that he has created over 25 years of governing, quote unquote, the country, and he's seen as a Tsar, not really a president. So, is it really that easy just to think about Putin being that vulnerable?
He's been the Tsar for the past 24 years. He's outslid, outsmarted, outran, outcompeted, casted out so many people, perhaps hundreds, if not thousands of people, because to get on top is much easier than to stay on top, and Putin has been successfully doing that. Okay, there have been situations where I personally thought, this is it, this is the beginning of the end for Putin. Remember last year, Prigozhin mutiny, very successful mutiny. Vladimir Putin stood in front of the entire country looking small, scared. His hands were shaking. His eyelid was going up and down erratically. And he was asking for help from Russian people. Unite behind me. These bandits are moving on to Moscow. And then he fled. He ran away. The leader of the country. And then I thought, this is it. It shows that he's not the strongest in the pack anymore, and others will be noticing. And the situation was pretty bad for him. But you know what? He managed to bounce back. He managed to return. Then at the end of 2022, he was nowhere to be seen for 2 months. And Russia was losing, clearly. It lost Kherson. It was kicked out of Kharkov province. And, again, it was a situation where his chair was shaking underneath him. Again, he bounced back. He's the master of bouncing back, the genius of bouncing back. Okay, so it's really hard. I think it's wrong to say that. He's still strong. He's still in the chair. He's still the Tsar. Okay, and Russia collapsing. What is collapsing? We got to get things straight. A lot of people, I hear this word, Russia is collapsing. I use it myself, but I always clarify. I don't think Russia will collapse, because Russia will continue to exist. Just China will continue to exist, no matter what, okay? The economy might collapse, and it is collapsing, okay? But it doesn't mean that, Russia will stop living and the Russians will all of a sudden disappear, okay? Collapse means that the living standard of regular people will be so much lower, okay? But that collapse is not a concern of Vladimir Putin. If we look at a little different angle, because most people are making this mistake, right? We're looking at Russia from the point of view of a Russian citizen. Russia is collapsing. The interest rate is going up. Russian ruble has lost 27% of its value in 3 months. The printing press is on. Okay, inflation is 30%. Unemployment is 2.0%, which is a catastrophe, right? That is a collapse, or at least this is the beginning of a collapse. Now, let's think as if we were Putin. I'm still the Tsar. I still have the army. I control it. The generals, they still answer me. I don't have any opposition. I don't have any other strong men in Russia. I've taken care of everyone. No one is trying to take me down to get my chair. Okay, the war in Ukraine is going on. Russian economy, I don't care about Russian economy. I don't care. People don't say anything in Russia. They are obedient. They have not asked me one single question. And everything I say they do, and everything I do, they approve. And so everything is going kind of good. And now I will talk to Trump in a few weeks, and I'll find a solution of some kind. And that will help me to hang on to my power. Reinforce my power and then my position. So it's been 24 years. You might as well stay for another few years. So 100% absolute success. I mean, well, think about it.
No, for sure. I think there's no denying
his success is power. His failure is loss of power. That's very simple. Everything he does aims at him hanging onto his power, absolute power, for longer.